going on, guys? It is Sunday, and we're gonna knock out the rest of this roll cage on that car. Now, by doing the roll cage and everything, it's actually gonna stiffen up his body quite a bit. I've talked about it before, and I'm just looking to get it done today. So once this is knocked out, we will mount that body onto this short little stubby frame. And by mounting it, all I mean is that we're going to place it onto the frame. We're going to see how everything fits. And we need to figure out a length on the frame. So I need to lengthen this frame because it is 10'6" from bumper to bumper. And the body from the front of the firewall to the back of the firewall is 8 foot something, I believe. I can't remember. I measured it like 2 weeks ago. So that only leaves me 2 feet for an engine, transmission, transfer case, radiator, and a grill. That's not near enough room. Although the transmission and the transfer case will be inside the cab, I still have an engine block and a radiator and, well, electric fan too, and a grill. So you're talking probably 4.5 feet right there. And that means I need to stretch this frame probably 2 to 3 feet. So to make it look proportionate, I want to place the body onto the frame first before I do any of that. So I got to finish up the roll cage. That's what we're going to be working on today. Hopefully we can get that knocked out and get this thing placed on the frame. So as far as placing it on the frame, I got to get a couple more hands over here. I'm not that stout, so I can't lift this thing up by myself. So see what we can do. All right, so none of that got videoed, putting all that crap in, for the simple fact, I'm a big guy. This is a small car, and that tripod takes up quite a bit of room up here. So I needed every inch that I could to be able to get in here, weld underneath these bars, around them, do everything else. So I got the sidebars coming down. I got the pillar bars. They're going straight down, welded to the body. And then that bar is welded to it, going to the back corner bar. So that should stiffen up that entire back corner pretty stoutly. Now under here I also have another crossbar going over, and then another bar. So that bar is actually going right above that cross member, and then this one is just going back, and it's going to hold the seat backs. So once I figure out whether or not I want them laying back, sitting up, whichever, that bar's there, and it's going to be the supporting those seats. Now I will eventually run another bar back here, and that'll probably be attached to, we'll figure something out to attach it, whether it be the frame or the back of that bar too. We will make one for the seatbelt harnesses to mount to. Now, as far as the ones up here, I have not done any bars up here yet, just for the simple fact I'm thinking about running it to the frame up to the top of that pillar, and that'll be a lot more structural on the front end of this cab. And then the back, I will also attach it to the back of the frame somehow too. So they're also going to act as support bars and also a body mount bar, and that will mount to the frame. Now I pulled this cab out, or this body, next to the frame because I want to show you guys how short this frame is. So that car actually needs to come forwards probably another foot, and that will meet the center of the wheel wells And that leaves me with the front tires already inside the cow. And I can't have that. So this frame needs to go out probably 2 feet. I really want to get this thing mounted on here to be able to get a better idea. And just kind of see what we're going with. But now I measured the back of the body. It is 45 inches. And between these tires, it's 45 and a half. So we have no room whatsoever to spare on this. That means that I need to do a bigger offset of wheel, or I can just put 2-inch spacers. But I'm not the biggest fan of these wheels, so I think they're going to go anyways. We'll just do a whole different set of wheels. Now, doing an offset up there will also keep my tires from rubbing the frame. And that will be pretty ideal because we don't want that rubbing. So, I'm going to see if we can't get this thing mounted on here. If it can get it set on this, that would be awesome. I can completely figure out my measurements and do what I need to on that. So, I will try and figure out a way to do that. Until then, I think I am going to take a break. So, like I said, I would say probably 80% of the roll cage is done. So that's cool. That'll be fun getting up there. All right, we're gonna load this cab up on this chassis. So I got the frame sitting in front of it, and then here's the cab. The idea is to maybe jack this thing up and, I don't know, hopefully slide it over the frame. Not 100% sure, but trying to do it by myself, so hopefully nothing bad happens. Anyways, so I'm gonna set the camera up just in case it does. You guys will be able to watch it and get a little bit of enjoyment. Anyways, all right, well, that was an ordeal, but luckily had 2 of the neighbor guys. They came over, helped me lift this thing up. It's pretty sweet. Now, granted, still needs quite a bit of work. So I'll show you what's going on. Okay, so now, as you can definitely see, this front end needs to go way forwards. Now, you know, back here doesn't look too bad. This is going to be the center of the axle right there. Now, this body will actually lower down further onto the frame whenever I cut that out. So that right there is actually what's holding the back of this car up. So I'll get that cut, and then I don't know if I'll take this out or not because that's also holding the body up. We'll kind of get a better look at it and everything. But the main goal was to get this thing up on top of the chassis. That way I can get my measurements and everything else. So, but 100%, this frame needs to be stretched probably 2.5, 3 feet. So, it doesn't have to be exact because I can make up the difference where the engine sits and everything else up there. So yeah, that's about where it's going to sit. Honestly, I don't know if I want to go up any higher or not. The rocker panels, well, I just went the wrong way on that. We'll go to the other side. So, it's sitting right there. So whenever I actually cut that frame and stretch it longer, that will sit even lower. So this cab is actually going to have kind of an aggressive lean on this chassis, which would be pretty cool. Just trying to get a better look at everything else in here. Now these seats, whenever they move, set that there. That whole pan right there is holding up a ton of weight in the back of this car. So I will probably cut all this section out, be able to lower that down further onto the frame, and just kind of get it where it needs to go in place. Getting this body off was a pain in the ass. I don't know if it's going to be taken off again. I'll probably get something to hold this cab up, cut the frame where it needs to, and then just move it, butt everything back up together. because the back of this frame looks really good. It's the front that does not. So now this can be fixed whenever I get it further. So I'll mess with that whenever the time comes. But for right now, I just wanted to get this thing up here, get some measurements, and it looks pretty decent. What's up, guys? So I'm out here working on the Model A, and I'm really looking at this thing pretty close on the frame. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. So the body is sitting on the frame. It's not mounted or anything. But I need to get a rough idea on what needs to be done and what needs to be cut. So, spec'ing this thing, it's pretty rough. Still, I mean, it's been rough, but the more and more that I look at what I need to do to it, I don't think it'll be too bad, but it does suck. So now, of course, that isn't flush with the frame because this body is still too far forwards and the frame needs to come a lot more further. So, but looking at all this crap, I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning this up. So, I'm going to cut these off. That was a makeshift motor mount, I guess. Just looks like you used some flat stock. So we're going to get rid of that. And all these pieces here that's just mangled together. I mean, none of it is even. So if I can get all this straightened up, get it really smoothed out, I will go ahead and plate the outside of this. I'll get it plated. And wherever I end up putting the motor, I'm going to put a lot thicker plate in that place. And actually, it's probably going to be some angle, and I'll put it over, but I'll make sure that it hangs over further. That we got enough material for the motor mount to actually be welded to. So, but as of right now, I'm going to go ahead and get all this cleaned up. Just really need to get it smoothed up that way, so whenever I do plate it, there won't be any gaps. I mean, it'll be great. So, and whenever I do get close to it, we'll talk further into it. I've never boxed a frame or anything, but I've watched a little bit. And once all this is smoothed up, we'll get it cleaned up, get it painted on the inside so we kind of stop that rust. And then right here, we will bevel this edge, and then we will also bevel the edge on the plate. That way we can run a bead down it. And I figure we'll do every 3 or 4 inches at a time, just kind of move back and forth. That way the material can cool and we don't chance on bowing the frame. So, for the time being though, I'm going to go ahead and cut all these brackets off, get that taken care of. These shock mounts that'll change. I will use the bottom one, but the top one is going to be a little bit taller so we can actually see those shocks in the coils. But that'll be for later on. I will go ahead and leave them for the time being, but I'm going to get all this cleaned up. So anyways, I'll set the camera up. All right, now I know probably you won't be able to see every bit of it on the camera, but I did get that inner side smooth here. The top rail still needs some work, but I definitely don't want to be throwing sparks behind that deep freeze because I know there's wood shavings. I don't want to catch a house on fire. So I'm gonna pull this this build out probably one day this week and be able to get the top of those. And I just got nosed outside just a little bit, but I'll finish that. But as of right now, I did get the inside of this frame. Now this is where they had their mount, and I mean, it was already rusting through right here. So I did clean that up, and then I cleaned up around it. So whenever I take this, I can actually put a plate on the inside now because it is just about smooth. Now this frame is a little bit skinnier than what it is there. So I don't know if this was actually welded to this or what. I have no idea. I don't know anything about these Jeep frames. No, nothing. So I'm just going off of what I can see, trying to show you guys what's going on. So with that being like that, I am just gonna go ahead and plate it because the top rail and the bottom rail is very sturdy. And once I get that smoothed up, we'll get that cleaned up. But I am gonna go ahead and paint all this, so that way I can keep it from rusting. I don't want any of this to be crusty and then lose my whole front suspension here. So I'm gonna get that painted. But as for this side, it's still a mangled piece of shit. So that compared to that, it looks better. I'll get this painted, probably start on this side, and just kind of get it ready to get the inner walls put in. So anywho, actually with this painted, you can actually see a lot more of the defects. So with that being painted, I still have a high spot here. I'll grind that down. Over here, I'll probably go ahead and grind the top of this down just a little bit, get that kind of pushed in. That way, whenever this plate is on, it's as close as it can be to this frame rail. So, yeah, you can definitely see a lot more when it's painted. So, yep. All right, all that's ground down. It's not perfect, you know, but by the time I plate it, get everything welded on the top rail and the bottom rail, it should be plenty stiff enough to be able to do this. I mean, I could spend all that time filling in each one of those holes and everything else, but it's not really gonna make a bit of difference whenever I plate the inside of this frame. So I'll probably use some 1/4" steel. It'd be plenty thick enough to be able to take care of all that. So I'll end up finding me a sheet of that, get that taken care of, and then back here, I actually figured out right behind that mount, not that mount, but that whatever that is. I want to say it used to be for a cross member, I don't know. But anyway, so behind that, I'm gonna split the frame. I'm gonna cut it in two, and I found some 2x4 channel. I'll be able to put it in there, and I'm gonna make a straight cut right in the center of that. And then once I put that channel up there, I'll be able to show you how I can do it. And I'll fish plate it on the outside, and then on the inside, I'll run a damn good bead on it. And it ought to be plenty stiff enough too. So, especially after I plate the inside of it. So what I'm doing by plating the inside and doing the fish plates and doing everything else, it's gonna make this frame very sturdy. So whether or not I change out the axles later on, if I want to put a 3/4 ton set of axles under it, I can. I just want it to be able to handle the power. So it ought to be plenty stiff after that. It's gonna be a heavy bastard, but she ought to be plenty stiff. So I'll get to that whenever I can. Until then, working on the bus. So I'll start on that tomorrow. Me and Eli will get that thing knocked out. So I'll see you guys then. All right, guys. Got Mr. Eli out here, and we have his 71 C10 that we're going to be messing with today. So we were going to mess with the bus. I started messing with it, tried getting the yearbook pictures to stay up there, and it does not work. So I'll have to come up with something later on. But as of right now, we're just going to run it, bring it to the show Saturday, and call it good. But what we're doing here with Eli's truck today is we are lowering it. So I believe he has a 5-inch rear drop. We're doing drop springs. And then he has a 3-inch spring drop on the front. So we're going to get all this stuff opened up and kind of show you guys what's going on here. Go ahead, man. All right, so that's going to be, that should be your front springs. Okay, so you got the front springs. You got shocks that come with this whole deal. I believe this kit was $430 or $440 on Amazon. And let's see, we'll get all this crap open here. All right. So that is a lot shorter than your other ones. That'll be cool. So you got those. Let's see, there's your bolts for pad mounts. Now these, yep. Yeah. This is going to be your rear shocks. Nice. All right, we're going to try and get all this crap on. All right, I'm going to tell you guys, that was a pain in the pecker. So, jacked it up on the rear of the frame. Hold the tension up on the frame. This is the new coil spring. And I just got to put the pad mounts on here. Got the new shock out. But none of these bolts were coming loose. Best advised if you guys just cut them. This one's easy to cut the bottom. That one I cut the coil first and then I cut the bolt. So I was able to get in there and do that. We don't worry about those little marks. Dirt and paint will fix that. So that's a Rust-Oleum fix. And yeah, anywho, we're going to put these pads in, see what happens. All right, this side is... it's installed, and looking at it from the back, you can actually see quite a bit of difference. So right there, we're in the center of the wheel, right at about 30 3/8. Then you come over here, and you're right at 34 1/8. So pretty big difference.
What am I over there?
31 3/8, I think, or 30 3/8, I believe.
Yeah, you're right.
So yeah, you can see a difference. So we're gonna jack this up, get this side done, gear knocked out. What's up, guys? Today's Friday, and we got a car show tomorrow. So getting all the papers up on top of the ceiling, the yearbook pictures, has been the biggest pain. I've been using some adhesive spray. That seemed to work really well until the papers were sitting up there. I don't know if they got wet. I don't know what happened, actually, but I went out there and over half of them were laying on the bottom of the bus and the other ones were kind of hanging down. So obviously it didn't work too well. So I have some wall covering adhesive. So this is what you would put wallpaper on, and I'm gonna try it. I don't know if it's gonna work, but we're gonna give it a shot. I got this evening to do it, and then car shows tomorrow. So hopefully it works out. So I'm gonna get busy and try and get that done. Good morning, guys. So we're out here probably 30 minutes early. All these cars are basically owned by the guys that put on the show. And I got out here early that way I could get a good spot and I ain't got to worry about turning around all these different shiny vehicles and rubbing that bumper against one of them. So, well, now it's daylight, I can actually show this a little bit better. So I do got a couple that's hanging down back there. I need to roll some more of that glue on it. Hopefully that'll make it stick better. But as far as these, they're sticking pretty well. So anyways, we're gonna wait on these other cars to kind of roll in and take a walk around here in a bit. All right, here at the car show. What's your name? Jordan. What do you think, man?
Good.
All right. So I'm gonna go walk around, okay? All right. So we got a couple newer cars here. Obviously, you got a Mustang. Got this old Plymouth. This thing has been here past couple years. He's done a pretty good job on it. I'm loving the back part of the paint here. The shiny up front kind of throws it off, but pretty good looking car. This thing sounds really good whenever it's running. By far my favorite car growing up. I always wanted to own a Cobra. Super, super cool. Since I was like second grade, I actually saw one of those, and I've wanted one ever since. X55 Chevy, beautiful. Man, this is some pretty paint. Super, super nice. Kid that owns this, his name's Gavin. He's actually, I believe he's 18 or 19. Just graduated high school. So, pretty damn cool ride to have that young. You got your wagon. LS swapped. Along with the C10, it's also LS swapped. I heard this thing pull in is super, super nasty. Sounds badass. I love that bed cover too. What you doing, Brooks? What do you think, man?
Too bad Jay tried to outrun a deer, or else he could be
Yeah, no kidding. Wait, what? Outrun a what? Oh, yeah. I'm actually digging this paint.
This is real pretty color.
This trailer's killer, man. I love it. The ice chest, nice. See how it only has one wheel on the bottom? Yeah. Hey, you know what this is? You know what it is?
This is water.
It's an AC. Basically like a swamp cooler. Air goes in, that has water in there, keeps it cool. It's what they used to have before AC, man.
Well, you're in the desert. It's been dry enough this year, probably be alright.
Yeah. One of the ugliest cars ever made, like vehicle-wise, is that yellow one.
Yeah, it's here every year.
It is.
This blue, I could have swore was for sale.
Look at this thing. I don't know.
Gas, costly. 1952 car. Costly. This is costly. That's something else.
I gotta say, that'd make a killer burnout car.
Just like that one. That one's Mr. Schiffer's going to say. So is that one.
This is gorgeous.
Another one I wish I gotta say that. It's from USA too. This is
Beautiful.
see. I actually think that one looks good.
It does.
If you're gonna order, you know, they don't really put them like this one. I think this is beautiful. It reminds me
Oh, wow.
of Tomato.
See the transmission cooler up there? They got it on the firewall. That's gorgeous. Same one, isn't it?
Well, I think mine's longer.
Maybe it
I'm
is.
wrong, but I want to say it's such a tight.
Good looking 55. Hey, did you check this thing out, Eli? Did you see that cab over there?
Obviously sweet. But
But he had it on hydraulics. The sleeper moved backwards.
that's what I could have swore. I
Yep.
swore it was up to the then I couldn't remember.
It
So
was.
there's no way that bed's gonna fold down.
Nope. So he slid it forward so he could work on the. That's where the engine's sitting.
I thought I was.
There we go.
It is a camper, isn't it?
What's that?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so they just put the engine back there instead of
This is my car.
just not. And you know,
Yeah.
It's better off if that's what you're driving.
Yeah. Yeah. I got 28 at the house.
You know,
This is
I was in
good looking.
Something out of it, and there was a 29 reel up there,
Yeah.
and if that guy was cranking that, so
Yeah, I watched him lift it up. So it's all on cylinders, and this sleeper moved back. And that's how, I mean, the LS is sitting right there.
Wait,
And then that's hydraulic dump bed too.
you just like obviously we don't need to, you know what I'm saying? You can just like push it up.
I believe it's got a, yeah, it's got
It
a
rides on these rails. Is that what it is, or?
gooseneck.
Oh my goodness, it's all connected.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so while this was lifting up, it was pulling that back.
Oh.
Super cool. Super cool. All right, guys. We made it back home. Bus is still good. I mean, it did great going down there. Didn't have any major issues or nothing, so that's great. But yeah, we're back home. Show was pretty good. The amount of cars, there wasn't too many. Which being a homecoming show, I mean, it hasn't really ever been that big. The lack of rat rods in the show is massive. There's only 2 other ones there. And I don't know. You know, I mean, it's a big club show. But it's pretty decent for this size town. So it's pretty good. Let's see. Other than that, it was hot, but we had a good time. So very glad to see Eli brought his truck up there. That was actually his first car show, so hopefully we can get him involved in some bigger car shows and more like events, not just showing your car. But I'd like to see him do the burnout contest, stuff like that. So that'd be really cool. As far as the plans for this week, so this coming week I need to cut the frame on the Model A. Oh hush. Dogs are getting after it. So I'll cut the frame on the Model A, get that chopped, and hopefully get everything lined out on it. So that's the big plan. This week has been kind of, I mean, it's back and forth doing this and that. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. So it's going to be kind of a jumbled video, honestly. There's too much going on in 1 week trying to get figured out. So anyways, that's probably going to end this video. And like I said, we'll start on the Model A this week. We'll get rock and rolling back on that thing and get some progress done. So, like always, appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you next week.